Okay, students, welcome back. We are continuing to work on the metric system, and today we're going to talk about a little introduction to metric mass. Now, what we usually do when we measure metric mass, we usually just weigh things, okay? And so we're going to refer to that as kind of interchangeable with weight, although it's not always the case. But here we're going to talk about it and you can weigh things to figure out their metric mass. So the base unit of metric mass is right here. It is the gram, right? So everything in the metric system for mass is based on grams. And, things like a paper clip weigh about a gram, or maybe a raisin would weigh about a gram. So grams are used to measure relatively small things, okay? Now, what happens when you get to medium-sized or large objects, okay? Well, you need something bigger, like a kilogram. Now, if you remember when we studied metric length, 1,000 meters equals a kilometer. Well, here's the same idea. 1,000 grams equals a kilogram. That K-I-L-O, kilo, means 1,000 of it, right? And so the idea with the metric system is it uses all the same prefixes, even though when we're talking about mass, or if we're talking about length, or if we're talking about capacity. And that's why the metric system is used in most parts of the world, right? And definitely used by scientists as well. Okay, so kilograms are used for measuring medium-sized objects, right? Weighing medium-sized objects such as humans or many animals. Can also be used for very large objects such as like a semi-truck or a train. You would measure those type of things in kilograms. Now, what about really tiny objects, right? Now, if a gram is pretty small, it's like a paper clip's weight. Well, a milligram is 1/1000th of that, because it takes 1,000 milligrams just to equal 1 gram, right? So a milligram is teeny tiny, right? And they're used to measure tiny objects, such as insects or maybe medicine or vitamins. Okay, so that's what milligrams are used for. Let's go ahead and get some practice in here with these different things, okay? So we're going to start out with this chart here. We now know that 1,000 grams equals a kilogram. Now, if we get 2 kilograms, well, we have to think that through. How are we going to figure out how many grams is that? Well, if 1,000 grams equals a kilogram, if I take 2 kilograms and multiply it by 1,000, I will get 2,000 grams. Same thing here with 4 kilograms, right? 1,000 grams equals 1 kilogram. So if I multiply 1,000 times 4, it'll tell me that 4 kilograms is equal to 4,000 grams, okay? Down here, what happens if we start with 6,000 grams? And I want to know how many kilograms that is. Well, now I have to do the opposite. I'm going to divide by 1,000, right? And when you divide by 1,000, there are 3 zeros in 1,000. So that means you can basically take off 3 zeros just like that, and you will end up with 6 kilograms, right? So if you take 6,000 grams, you divide it by 1,000 to figure out how many kilograms that is, and you'll find that 6,000 grams equals 6 kilograms. So these are the exact same amount of weight, right? 6 kilograms is the exact same amount as 6,000 grams. Okay, just a different unit of measurement, which is why I'm always telling you to be very careful and make sure you write down whichever unit of measurement you're using. So let's take another example, 8,000 grams. If you divide that by 1,000, eliminate 3 zeros, you will get 8 kilograms, right? Let's go back the other way again. 10 kilograms. Well, 1,000 grams equals a kilogram. So 10 times 1,000 will give you 10,000 grams, right? And 32 kilograms. That's a bigger number, but it works the same way, right? 32 times 1,000, right? 32 times 1,000. We add those 3 zeros from the 1,000 to the 32, and you get 32,000 grams, and that is an equivalent weight to 32 kilograms. All right, let's move up here. What about some examples with milligrams? Well, sometimes they don't lay it out nicely in a chart for you. So what do when you have 15 grams equals how many milligrams? Well, first of all, you figure out that 1 gram equals 1,000 milligrams, right? So once you know that, you can figure this out. So you're going to take those 15 grams, you're going to multiply it by 1,000. And as we said earlier, if you multiply by 1,000, you're basically adding 3 zeros to it, right? You'd take your decimal point, move it over 3 times, which is adding 3 zeros, you get 15,000 milligrams right there. Okay, same thing down here, except in reverse. We have 12,000 milligrams, and we need to get to grams, so we're going to divide it by 1,000, right? Because 1 gram equals 1,000 milligrams. If I want to change milligrams into grams, I need to divide, right? And if I eliminate those 3 zeros, because I have 3 zeros in 1,000, I end up with 12 grams. So you need more milligrams to equal the same amount in grams, right? So you need 12,000 milligrams to equal 12 grams, and you can get back and forth between milligrams and grams by multiplying or dividing by 1,000. Let's go try some challenge problems. So this is a good time for you to pause this video and try these problems on your own, and then I'll show you how to do them. So go ahead and pause it for a moment. Okay, hopefully you paused the video, and let's think about how to do this. 16 kilograms and 54 grams equals how many total grams? Well, we already have 54 grams here, so we know that's going to be a piece of the answer, but we do have this 16 kilograms, and we're going to multiply that by 1,000 because 1 kilogram equals 1,000 grams. So 16 times 1,000 gives you 16,000 grams. So I have to add these 54 back, though. Don't forget about these. So you end up with 16,054 grams, right? I take my ones column, put it right here instead of this zero. Take my tens column, put it right here instead of that zero. Okay, this zero stays there to hold the place value. Okay, 7 kilograms and 3 grams. Well, how many grams would that equal? Well, let's take a look at this. And if we have 1 kilogram equals 1,000 grams, we're going to multiply this 7 times 1,000. Okay, and when you do that, you get 7,000 grams. But we still have these 3 grams left over here that we have to add into the total. So instead of the 0 in the ones column, we're going to put a 3 there, and we get 7,003 grams, right? Because you're basically taking 7,000 grams and adding 3 more grams to it, because the 7,000 equals the 7 kilograms. Last but not least, this was the hardest problem on the page. So here we go. 8,734 milligrams. How many grams and milligrams does that equal? We got to work in reverse here. So we have to remember, okay, that 1,000 milligrams equals 1 gram. So here I can split this into 2 equal parts. I can do this to 8,000 plus 734. Now, you can see right here that 734 is less than 1,000, so that's going to be the milligrams that are left over. But now I have to figure out, so that goes here, right? Now I have to figure out what to do with this 8,000. Well, I can take 8,000 and I can divide it by 1,000 to get down to the number of grams that I have. And when I do that, I can eliminate these 3 zeros right here because there's 3 zeros in 1,000. It's like dividing by 10 3 different times. And you say 8,000 divided by 1,000 ends up with 8. And so you end up with 8 grams and 734 milligrams. So that was your extra challenging question at the end of this video. Hopefully you keep practicing with the metric system. Again, anybody who wants to ever travel to another country or move to another country, or if you just want to become a scientist in this country, you need to learn the metric system. There is a reason that scientists use it instead of our customary or standard system. Keep practicing, and we will learn more about this in the days to come. Bye.